Hi, my name's William Schaeffer with another book review. Today's book, Primitive Heritage, a collection of writings on anthropology by Margaret Mead and Nicolas Calas. I bought a copy of this book 30 years ago at Acres of Books in Long Beach when I first moved to the Los Angeles area, something like that. And I found it a fascinating book. For a number of reasons, it's very interesting. One, it's by Margaret Mead. And when I was growing up and in the 1960s, Margaret Mead had a tremendous influence on the intellectual culture of anthropology and sociology. She even, I believe, walked with a walking stick and did numerous news interviews. And anthropology has not been quite as popular since that time. Nevertheless, this is a fascinating collection of stories about subjects that we rarely hear about anymore. And I've highlighted 5 essays that I found to be interesting and almost transformative. And these are just 5 short essays by different authors that were collected into this book. And before we do that, let's just do a survey of what some of the subjects are. Most of the articles are short. They're 5 to 10 pages long, something like that. And the sections are Anthropology in Antiquity, Herodotus, Strabo, Tacitus, the German tribes. Then they go into the mythological past, Friedrich Nietzsche, Blood and Cruelty as the Foundation of All Good Things. Sigmund Freud, The Totemic Feast. And these are a lot of really good essays and interesting essays. Next, Theoretical Approaches, Chapter 4, The Scene, 5, Children, 6, Puberty, Marriage, Art, Thought, and Sport. And that was very interesting. The Daily Round, Daily Life. 10, Ceremonies and Economics. 11, Religious Experience, and I found this to be most fascinating. 12, Extreme Changes in the Body Image and Interpersonal Relationships. Feasts and Sacrifices, War and Peacemaking, and 15, Death. And 16, Immortality. All in all, a fascinating collection of writing that you can read one chapter or a few selections in a chapter and really sit and think about it. Now, these are the ones that in my memory I found to be very interesting. And of course, first, by Verrier Elwin, under Puberty, the two-sex dormitories of the Muria. Now, this is mostly from memory, but this is a Polynesian culture where the children sleep in a shared co-ed dormitory, and they pair off at night just to sleep. But they learn the comfort and cohabitation of sleeping with someone, and it's very respectful and relaxed. So by the time they become adults, they're used to it. And they've been through a lot of the basic issues in a fun, accepting, healthy way. In our Western culture, that seems very foreign to us. But the idea of dormitory living is kind of interesting. And this article was a revelation to me. I really enjoyed it. James R. Murray, The Mischievous Society of Boys. And I don't remember anything about that one. Alexander David Neal, Running Llamas. And this is about Tibetan llamas who have phenomenal endurance. James Mooney, An Indian Messiah. Now this I found very interesting because This is about the Ghost Shirt Society in the American West in the late 1800s. And there was a man called Wovoka that was considered by the Native Americans to be a messiah. And he started a Masonic cult that was very influential in the American Indian culture. And this culminated in the killing of 300 adherents at Wounded Knee, which is Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. But as influential as this was, and as miraculous as this was, we hear almost nothing about it. And we hear nothing of what this Wovoka said or what the people believed. And there's just been a total news blackout. And so to see a description of his life and his message in a text on anthropology was very illuminating to me and very interesting. Highly recommended. And last, perhaps not least, The Society of Contraries by George Bird Grinnell. And this was a practice in Cheyenne society among warriors who, for some reason, would get awarded or receive a thunderbow of a sort, and they would have to do everything backwards, and that was their honorary deed, as it were. So they would say yes when they mean no. They would live away from the camp. They would ride their horse backwards. It went to extreme philosophical ends to always do things backwards, to always be contrary or against the way things go. But in battle, these contraries would be like fence posts. They would at some point declare they're not going to move unless they're killed. And they would be a rallying point of bravery in battle. And just this idea of someone as a holy or spiritual mission who does everything backwards or sideways, I thought was kind of interesting. And then here we have Alexander David Neal displacing the soul and bringing a corpse to life, which is more about Tibetan Buddhism. So there's a lot of fascinating and interesting essays. There's a lot of fascinating essays in this book, Primitive Heritage by Margaret Mead. Therefore, I highly recommend it. Thank you, and leave your comments below.